I know, it's sad. I think Peter's conflating many issues there. He's talking about being welcomed into the workforce, but what Wickes is doing here is quite clearly advertising a campaign to their buyers, to the people that are just going in to buy a colour of paint, not necessarily looking for a lecture on societal norms or sexuality. And what I found interesting about the Wickes campaign is that it's saying you cannot be in favour or supportive of LGB without being in favour or supportive of the T. And I think that's disingenuous too, because that is discriminatory. If you are in favour of people of all sexualities expressing that sexuality, that has absolutely nothing to do with someone wanting to change gender or changing their sex. That is a debate that is very contested, very hot and heavy right now, has not been settled. And that's so different from the LGB argument of wanting equality in the workforce and in the rest of society.
Yeah, and then Peter, I've told you this before, I'm very grateful to the activism that you've been part of in the past, where you have actually ensured that we have equality in the eyes of the law and wider society as far as gay men and women are concerned, and bisexual men and women. But I'm wondering, how does the issue of gender dysphoria, of someone saying, look, I have gender dysphoria, it's a very debilitating thing to experience, my heart goes out to people that are genuinely experiencing that. But, Peter, I don't understand how the T is the same as the LGB, because one's sexual orientation and another is a gender dysphoria, a real issue that needs to be addressed.
In fact, that's quite dangerous because it's mixing up a mental health issue with a sexuality.
Well, there is a difference between lesbian, gay and bisexual and trans. One is about sexual orientation, the other is about gender identity, but both experience very similar, or have historically experienced very similar levels of discrimination and hate crime. Now, lesbian, gay and bisexual people have made huge advances. Trans people have somewhat been left behind. And I think we just, as a gesture of solidarity, we want to support our trans siblings. And again, going back to the business argument, there will be employees in Wickes who are trans. There will be customers of Wickes who are trans. Obviously, the business wants to make them all feel welcome. And that's just common sense. It's not saying that people should endorse it. It's just saying that they as a company endorse the principle of inclusion and equality for LGBT people. And that includes, of course, the T. They're saying they don't want to exclude trans people. I think that's a lovely, warm-hearted, generous, kind message. I'm all in favor of loving others, supporting others, ending discrimination. I don't want to see discrimination against trans people. We know they do suffer prejudice and discrimination. I think it's fantastic that a company says, we don't support discrimination.
But Peter, the trans movement is actually discriminatory towards women and women's rights. And this is why it's such a hot, contested issue at the moment, because people are fighting to protect women's spaces, female-only spaces. And this is, therefore, a political statement by Wickes. It's not inclusion. It's not diversity. It's a political statement that is going to put a lot of people off. So I don't think it does make financial sense, actually. I think it's actually counterproductive to their business. It's a social lecture. It's social justice warrior. And it's been taken up by the LGBT plus movement within Wickes. It's not actually by the corporate body.